things have gone pretty well for the Cougars this week, getting it in on their rivals once again in multiple ways. But also, I feel like I have not done a standalone segment on just the incredible retention job done by BYU football. It's got the cherry on top. And it's such proof of one really important thing at BYU right now. So let's discuss what has happened here. I'm trying to remember who it was who said at the very beginning of the video, I saw it, hey, in case you didn't know, LJ Martin and Evan Johnson are back. I did know because basically every important player that had eligibility to be back from the BYU football team this year is now back. And that happens in spite of losing your defensive coordinator in Jay Hill and a really good cornerbacks coach who had been with the program for a long time. And Kyle Whittingham taking no prisoners, like really depleting the roster and the coaching staff at Utah, his former school, clearly showing, like, if he's doing that to Utah, he wanted to come hit up BYU for some players and further coaching talent and all of that. Kyle Whittingham's taking no prisoners. And if he's not worried about a place, and his legacy at a place for over 2 decades for what it's going to mean, not that it should. Don't take that the wrong way. I'm not saying that Kyle Whittingham's legacy should be affected by taking people from Utah on his way out the door. But if he's not really concerned about that and going to do it anyway to go win at Michigan, because that's what you got to do, you think he's going to spare the place that he wouldn't even utter its name in press conferences forever when he was here? No, man. Whittingham was on the prowl. And BYU, they put the force field up. They put a moat around Provo, and they filled it with crocodiles or something. They kept everybody away. I'm pretty floored. I mean, I knew BYU had a great culture, but if you were really curious at all about BYU's culture and how it would hold up, you've got no more questions to be answered, my friend. That thing is rock solid because that's what it takes. Yes, and some money. I'm sure this is one of those things when we point back to the flirtation with Penn State, and as stressful as that was for BYU fans for a while, this is where that came through because now people have stepped up with money, and you've got the money to dole out to keep all of your key players. Roster retention gets very difficult when you have the type of success that BYU has, just because guys have shown a lot. They got a lot of great tape out there. They want to potentially go try and get top dollar. You got to have money to shell out. LJ Martin, Offensive Player of the Year in the Big 12, back. It's a really big one. Evan Johnson, who was a corner. Okay. You lost the defensive coordinator and the corners coach, and you still keep Evan Johnson. Very emblematic of what's going on with this program right now. Obviously, about Bear Bochmeier coming back, but that is one. And I remember seeing at least like a few whispers there for a moment about like, hey, what's going to come of Bear Bochmeier? Is Bear Bochmeier going to be back? A few whispers, but Bear is here. And, Tanavasa, you get your All-American safety back. Like the entire defense, as much as you could have brought back, you brought them back. BYU is going to be a force next year. I think we're headed toward Texas Tech and BYU 1-2. They're going to be the preseason favorites in the league. But it's just such a good sign as to like the overall health of this program and where things are going. So you get all that news that's good this week lining up if you are a BYU fan. Then you get to see Utah continue to lose players to the portal, a handful of whom are going to Michigan. So if you're into the, schadenfreude and taking some pleasure in the pain of your rivals there and what's happening to Utah, and not only that, looking at it from just like a resources standpoint, like who are we going to beat? How are we going to win the Big 12 this year? Utah's roster has taken a bit of a hit. We still don't know on Smith Snowden, right? He at least took a visit to BYU. I don't know. That's still one that feels like it was like Oregon, Notre Dame, Michigan outside of BYU, but that's one that BYU is at least like in play for. Smith Snowden taking a visit within the past week, and now you get to basketball and you get to go beat Utah on its home floor. Now, it was not a particularly pretty game, for BYU there, but they did win. I watched a bunch of the second half of that game, and Utah was putting up a fight, certainly more fight than I probably would have expected in that, but you get a dub. You get a dub. You got AJ DeBonsta. He's going out there getting a win. Richie Saunders rebounding, freaking everything with like 25 rebounds. I don't think it was quite that much, but it felt like it. And just a dude grinding, wanting to win that game so badly, having never won there before. BYU basketball rolling, BYU football, despite a lot of stress this offseason. That was really a stress test, I think, for the BYU football program, what happened this offseason, and it's what happens when you have success. No matter where you are, because even if you're at the top of the college game, the NFL could come calling for your head coach or your players, or they could still want to go to the portal these days. If you have success anywhere across the country, you win 23 games in 2 years, people are going to come sniffing around, and you're going to have to endure all the prying eyes and people trying to come take away and strip apart your success. And I think at the end of the day here, you've got to say BYU came out looking very good from this. And as well as you could have possibly hoped. Defensive coordinator is a tough blow. A corners coach is a tough blow. But you consider what that could have been, even without Kyle Whittingham, and how many people would potentially be wanting to pull somebody, including Kalani Sitake, away from Provo, Utah. You guys, I just want to make sure BYU fans are appreciating this, because you should be appreciating that 1,000,000,000% at the end of the day here. So hopefully, you all are. Okay, I think we have no more super chats. I will issue you guys one more reminder. If you like what I do here, please do like the video, subscribe to the channel, and definitely subscribe to the Open for Business Big 12 newsletter at ofbnews.com. We're up to about 5,700 Big 12 fans subscribe now. It's in your inbox twice a week. It is totally free. I appreciate everybody who supports in that way. You can hit me up on Venmo at John-Kurtz-4 if you have a question or comment and you weren't here watching live. Greatly appreciate everybody who does that. So thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody, for coming tonight. Thank you for being here. And enjoy the rest of your Sunday night. I hope you all have a wonderful start to your week, and I will talk to you very soon.